What if the real reason you're not eating well has nothing to do with effort, discipline, or even time, but everything to do with how your kitchen is set up against you? Here's something most people never admit out loud. You can open a fully stocked fridge, stare at it for 10 seconds, and still walk away without eating anything useful. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care about your health, but because nothing in there felt easy enough to actually touch. And that gap, the distance between having food and actually eating it, is where good intentions go to die every single day. So today we're going to close that gap permanently. These are 12 grocery habits that make eating simple, fast, and completely doable without cooking, without planning, and without the usual mental gymnastics. Every single one of these is practical, specific, and ready to apply the next time you walk into a store. If that sounds like exactly what you need, you're in the right place. 1. Think in snack plates, not traditional meals. This is a mindset shift that changes everything about how you shop. Most people walk into a grocery store thinking about meals. What am I going to cook Monday? What's for dinner Thursday? And that framing immediately locks them into buying ingredients that depend on each other. You get a head of lettuce that needs washing, a cucumber that needs slicing, a block of cheese that needs cutting. Suddenly, you've bought a project, not food. Here's the reframe. Instead of asking what meals can I make this week, ask what 5 or 6 ready-to-eat items can I arrange on a plate in under 2 minutes. That one question changes your entire cart. You stop buying raw ingredients that require assembly and start buying individual foods that can stand completely on their own. Think sliced deli cheese that's already portioned, washed grapes that you just pull from the bag, a sleeve of crackers you can open right now, baby carrots that need nothing from you at all. Each item should work on its own, but feel better when you put a few of them together. That's the whole formula, and here's the detail most people overlook entirely. When you get home, place these items at eye level, not buried in a drawer, not hidden in the back behind the leftovers. Eye level. Because the foods you see are the foods you eat, and the foods you don't see might as well not exist. Variety matters here too. A small amount of 3 or 4 different things feels more complete than a large portion of one thing. Your brain reads it as a real meal even when nothing was cooked. That's a quiet but powerful trick worth using every single week. 2. Make pre-cooked proteins a non-negotiable part of your cart. This is where most people either set themselves up to win or quietly guarantee failure. When you're standing in the protein section, the question isn't what can I cook this week? The question is, what can I eat the moment I get home without doing a single thing to it? Not heat and eat. Not prep for 5 minutes. Nothing. Open and eat. That's the standard you're shopping to. At the store, that means rotisserie chicken that's already fully seasoned. Hard-boiled eggs that are already peeled if your store carries them. Pull-tab canned tuna or canned chicken. Cooked shrimp sitting in the refrigerated case. These are your targets. But here's where people undo all of that good work. They get home, throw everything in the fridge randomly, and then dig for it later when they're already hungry and low on patience. That completely defeats the purpose. Spend 2 minutes when you unpack. Pull some of the chicken off the bone and put it in a container. Move the tuna somewhere visible. Put the eggs at the front where your hand naturally reaches. You're not doing this for now. You're doing it for the version of you that will open that fridge tired and hungry at 7 in the evening and need something immediately. Also, think of each protein as several small eating opportunities rather than one single meal. One rotisserie chicken gives you something to add to crackers, something to throw into a salad kit, something to eat with a piece of fruit. That's not dinner. That's 3 or 4 moments where you didn't have to cook anything and still ate well. And one more thing worth remembering. Choose proteins that taste fine cold or at room temperature. Some technically cooked foods still feel unfinished unless they're hot. Those won't help you on difficult days. You want things that are satisfying exactly as they come. 3. Stop resisting pre-cut produce and start using it deliberately. Every item in the produce section puts you in one of 2 positions when you get home. Ready right now or requiring effort later. The trap most shoppers fall into is filling their cart with too many effort-later foods. A whole head of cauliflower, a full bunch of celery, a solid block of melon, All of it sounds good in the store and sits untouched in the fridge until it goes bad. The fix is straightforward. If it requires washing, peeling, or any cutting before it goes into your mouth, look for a version of it that's already been handled. Pre-cut pineapple chunks instead of a whole pineapple. A ready mixed salad bag instead of individual lettuce heads. Baby carrots instead of full-sized carrots that need trimming. This isn't settling for less, it's making a deliberate trade that actually gets food eaten instead of wasted. When you bring these home, don't leave them buried in original packaging that makes them invisible. Transfer to clear containers or at least open the bags slightly so your eyes land on them immediately. Visibility and eating are directly connected. If you can see it when you open the fridge, it gets eaten. If it's tucked away behind something else, it doesn't. And let's talk about the hidden time-saving bonus here. Pre-cut produce also removes cleanup. No cutting board needed. No knife to wash. No counter to wipe down afterward. That's not a small thing. That's removing half the friction that quietly makes people avoid eating well in the first place. Yes, it costs a little more than whole produce. But what you're actually paying for is consistency, less wasted food, and energy saved on days when you have none to spare. That's a trade worth making every single time. 4. Always keep zero-effort proteins within reach. Think of this category as your insurance policy. Your backup plan for the days when everything feels like too much. These are not meal components. These are instant nourishment with literally no steps between you and eating. When you shop for this category, the question is simple and must be answered with a clear yes. Can I eat this directly from the fridge or pantry without touching it, heating it, or preparing it in any way? If yes, it qualifies. If there's any hesitation, it probably doesn't. Here's where people go wrong with this. They buy the right foods but treat them like ordinary groceries. They get home, stack everything into the fridge, and those perfectly good proteins end up buried behind last week's leftovers and a half-used carton of something. Then when a low-energy moment hits, they open the fridge, don't immediately see what they need, and close it again. Nothing gets eaten. The system breaks down not because the food wasn't there, but because it wasn't accessible. So make these the most visible, most reachable thing in your kitchen. Front row, no digging, no reorganizing required. Because this strategy only works if grabbing the food is genuinely faster than deciding not to eat. And here's a mindset point that matters. Stop labeling these foods as not enough. A lot of people look at a portion of cooked chicken, a couple of boiled eggs, or a serving of canned fish and think it doesn't count as a real meal. That's not true. If it provides your body with protein and sustains your energy, it counts fully. You can always add something small alongside it if you want more. But getting the protein in immediately is what matters most. Do that and everything else becomes optional. 5. Learn to shop the ready-to-eat section like it was built specifically for you. Because it was. Most people glide past this part of the store like it's a luxury they don't deserve or a shortcut they should be embarrassed to take. That thinking is costing them time, energy, and consistency. The ready-to-eat section is essentially a wall of solved problems. Everything there has already been washed, cut, combined, seasoned, and portioned. The only work left is choosing it and eating it. The mindset to bring here is not what do I feel like eating today, but what will I actually want when I'm tired, when I don't feel like cooking, when I open the fridge and need something immediately. Buy for that version of yourself. That person is far more common in your week than you probably acknowledge. When you pick something from this section, run it through 3 quick checks. Can I eat this cold or straight from the container? Does it feel satisfying on its own, or do I need to add something? Will this actually appeal to me when my energy is low? If it passes all 3, it goes in the cart. If it only passes 2 out of 3, think twice. And don't overcrowd this section of your fridge. Ready-to-eat foods are most useful when they're fresh and visually appealing. If you stack too many options in at once, your brain goes into choice overload and suddenly nothing feels easy anymore. Keep 2 or 3 strong options in rotation at any given time. Rotate what you buy week to week so things stay interesting without requiring any extra effort on your end. This is one of the cleanest ways to eat well consistently without setting foot near your stove. 6. Prioritize fruits that require absolutely nothing from you. This sounds almost embarrassingly simple, But underestimating it is a mistake because this tip is specifically about removing what are called micro-frictions, the tiny invisible inconveniences that quietly stop good habits from forming. When you're choosing fruit, nutrition and taste matter, but accessibility in the actual moment matters just as much. Ask yourself this question while you're at the store. If I'm sitting down and I get a little hungry, can I eat this without standing up, walking anywhere, or doing anything to it? If the answer is no, think carefully before putting it in your cart. Because here's what really happens during real life. You're resting. You feel a small wave of hunger. Not enough to motivate a whole preparation session, but enough that you should eat something. In that moment, you have two options. Something you can pick up with one hand and bite into directly, or something that requires steps. We both know which option wins in that moment every single time. Fruits that need no preparation also mean almost zero cleanup. No sticky surface, no cutting board, no knife left soaking in the sink. You eat, dispose of anything minimal, and you're completely done. Keep these fruits somewhere they're always immediately visible. A bowl on the counter, the front shelf of the fridge, somewhere your eyes naturally land. Because when the easiest available thing is also a piece of fruit, you'll reach for it without even consciously deciding to. That's the quiet goal here, making the healthy choice the automatic choice. 7. Build what might be called a lazy assembly system for quick meals. Picture this exact scenario. You walk into your kitchen hungry, your brain is already telling you it doesn't want to cook. And then you open the fridge and realize that within 60 seconds, you could have something in your hand that actually tastes good. That's not luck. That's a system. When you shop for this, you're not buying random sandwich ingredients and hoping it comes together. You're building a repeatable combination on purpose. Something for the base, something for the filling, something that adds flavor without any effort. A good bread or wrap that stores well. A pre-cooked protein that needs nothing done to it. Something spreadable that goes on directly from the container. That's the entire structure. The mistake people make here is buying these components but then scattering them all over the kitchen. Bread in one spot, the filling in a completely different area of the fridge, the spread tucked behind 6 other things in the door. When everything is separated, your brain reads it as a small project, and projects require energy you may not have. So when you unpack groceries, keep your assembly components in the same zone. Close together, visible, ready to grab simultaneously. And here's what makes this system quietly brilliant. It's not a single recipe, it's a template. Some days you use the bread. Some days you use the wrap instead. Some days you skip both and eat everything side by side without assembling anything at all. The same ingredients, completely different feel. Zero additional thinking required. That flexibility is exactly what makes this hold up on difficult days when every decision feels heavier than it should. 8. Stop treating frozen food like a backup plan and start treating it like a strategy. Frozen food has carried an unfair reputation for years. People assume it means low quality or that reaching for it is somehow a failure. In reality, frozen food is one of the most practical tools available to anyone trying to eat consistently without cooking every day. Here's the real problem frozen food solves: food going bad before you ever get around to it. You know that cycle. You buy fresh produce with good intentions. Life gets busy, energy dips, days pass, and suddenly that beautiful bunch of vegetables is past its best and headed for the trash. You feel guilty, waste money, and end up eating less well anyway. Frozen removes that entire situation from your life. It simply waits for you without expiring, without pressure, without making you feel bad for not getting to it on time. The key to using frozen food effectively as a no-cook tool is choosing items that require either no effort at all or the absolute minimum. Frozen fruit is one of the most underrated options in any grocery store. You pull it out, let it sit briefly at room temperature, and it's ready. Add it to yogurt. Eat it on its own. Mix it into something else you already have. No washing, no cutting, no worrying about spoilage. And beyond just convenience, frozen food gives your kitchen resilience. Even on the days when you haven't shopped recently, when the fridge looks bare, when you feel like there's genuinely nothing available, the freezer says otherwise. Having that reliable option removes the "there's nothing to eat" feeling that most people have experienced far more often than they'd like to admit. And on any day where the real choice is between eating something frozen and not eating properly at all, frozen wins. That's not the last resort. That's the smart move. 9. Create a dedicated no-thought zone inside your fridge. Everything discussed so far gets dramatically more effective when you do this one thing. Because here's the reality. You can buy all the right foods. You can choose pre-cut produce, pre-cooked proteins, and ready-to-eat items. But if you open the fridge and your brain has to do any searching, scanning, or deciding, you've already lost half the battle. The solution is carving out one specific area, one shelf, one clear section, where everything is ready to eat immediately without exception. Not probably ready, not almost ready. Completely ready right now, no steps required. When you open the fridge, that zone is the first thing your eyes land on. You see it, you grab it, you eat it. The decision was already made before you even opened the door. Here's how to make this zone actually work in practice. Keep it slightly casual rather than perfectly organized. This sounds counterintuitive, but it matters. If the zone looks like a display that's too neat to disturb, you'll subconsciously hesitate before reaching into it. But if it feels approachable and a little lived in, you'll grab things naturally and without hesitation. Also, resist the urge to pack it completely full. A few clear, strong options always outperform a crowded shelf that triggers decision fatigue. 2 or 3 things you genuinely want to eat right now is worth far more than 8 options that make you stand there thinking. Set this up once, maintain it weekly, and watch how much more consistently you actually eat throughout the day. 10. Choose foods that require no tools, no plates, and no cleanup at all. Here's a thought pattern that most people never examine, but that probably affects their eating habits more than they realize. Sometimes the reason you skip a meal or reach for something that doesn't serve you isn't hunger. It's the invisible weight of what comes after eating. The plate to wash, the fork to rinse, the cutting board to deal with, the counter to wipe. None of that is particularly hard, but together it adds a layer of effort that your brain quietly registers and quietly resists. The habit to build here is choosing foods you can eat entirely with your hands. No utensils, no plates, no setup, and critically, no cleanup. When you're at the store, add this question to your checklist. Can I open this and eat it directly while standing at the counter or sitting on the couch with nothing in between? If yes, it belongs in your cart, because the fewer steps between you and the first bite, the more reliably you'll eat. That sounds obvious, but most people don't actively shop with this in mind. They choose healthy foods without considering how accessible those foods are in the specific moment they'll need them. And the cleanup side of this matters just as much. No dishes means no mental resistance. No lingering task means eating stays clean and simple in your mind. The loop becomes grab it, eat it, done completely. Once you experience how much lighter that feels compared to meals that involve preparation and cleanup, you won't want to go back. 11. Use food combinations instead of recipes as your default approach. Recipes are great tools in the right context. But if you've ever opened a recipe app on a low-energy day and immediately felt your motivation evaporate at the sight of 12 steps and 45 minutes, you already know the problem. Recipes create pressure. They require timing, sequencing, measuring, and the uncomfortable feeling of doing it wrong if something doesn't match the instructions. The alternative is far simpler and more forgiving. Instead of following a recipe, you think in pairings. What do I have right now that goes well with something else I have right now? That's the entire thought process. No steps, no sequence, no correct answer to chase. A portion of cooked chicken next to a handful of crackers and a few grapes isn't a recipe. But it's satisfying, it's complete, and it took you 45 seconds to put together. What's powerful about this approach is that it gradually builds a kind of pattern recognition without any effort. You start noticing combinations that consistently work for you. You stop asking what should I make and start asking what can I pull together right now? And that second question is infinitely easier to answer because it's based entirely on what's already in front of you. No planning, no grocery list cross-referencing, no pressure to produce something complete. Just 2 or 3 things that taste good together, eaten comfortably and done. That's sustainable. That's real. 12. Start seeing the grocery store as a place where most of your work is already done. This is the shift in thinking that ties every single habit on this list together. And once it clicks, you'll never shop the same way again. For most people, a grocery store is a place to buy ingredients that they'll then transform into food at home. That framing puts all the effort on you. You're the one who has to wash, cut, season, cook, and assemble everything into something worth eating. But that's only one way to experience a grocery store. The other way is to walk in recognizing that a significant portion of the work has already been done on your behalf. Someone washed the salad greens. Someone cooked and seasoned the chicken. Someone cut the melon into neat cubes and sealed it in a container. Someone portioned the hummus and paired it with pre-cut vegetables. All of that labor already happened. You're not paying extra for laziness. You're paying to skip steps that were going to cost you time, energy, and the mental overhead of deciding whether to bother at all. When you shop this way, your eyes start catching different things. You notice the foods that are already 2 or 3 steps ahead of where you'd normally start. You gravitate toward items where most of the preparation is simply done. And your cart fills with things that will actually get eaten rather than things that will sit in your fridge with good intentions until they don't. Ask yourself this while you're shopping: how many steps has this item already saved me? If the answer is several, it belongs in your cart. Every step you don't have to take at home is a win. Not just in time saved, but in the mental energy preserved for everything else in your day. And there's no reward, no gold star, no health benefit that comes from doing things the hard way when the easy way gets the exact same result. Let the store carry the weight. Your only job is to choose, bring it home, and eat it. Here's the core truth that connects everything in this video. Eating well consistently is almost never about motivation or willpower. It's almost entirely about how little friction stands between you and food when you need it. When food is easy to see, easy to grab, easy to eat, and easy to finish without cleanup, you eat it. When it requires steps, effort, thought, or time, you find a reason to skip it. That's not a character flaw. That's just how humans make decisions under low-energy conditions. So the work isn't forcing yourself to cook more or try harder. The work is setting up your kitchen and your grocery cart so that the easiest possible choice is also a decent one. You're not aiming for perfect. You're aiming for consistent and doable. Snack plates that take 2 minutes. Proteins you bought already cooked. Produce that requires nothing from you. A fridge zone where food is visible and grab-ready. Assembly combinations that replace the pressure of recipes. Frozen staples that never expire on you. Foods that need no tools and leave no mess. Stack these habits together and eating stops feeling like a task. It starts feeling like something that just happens naturally throughout your day, which is exactly what it should feel like. If this helped shift how you think about shopping and eating, go ahead and give this video a like. It genuinely helps more people find this content. And if you're not already part of the community here at my channel, subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop a comment below and tell me which one of these 12 habits you're going to try first. I read through the comments and I'd love to know which one landed hardest for you. See you in the next one.